We all have a story, moments that shape us, break us, and build us. There were seasons in my life where I didn't quite know who I was, but God did. And even in the broken places, His fingerprints were always there. Good morning, friends. Okay, just got back from the gym a little while ago. My son Noah is getting ready for school, and then we're gonna head out in a little bit. Had to make my mushroom coffee. I'm excited to try this new creamer, by the way. This is a lavender creamer. We will see how this goes. But this episode of the I Am Show is gonna look a little different. It's gonna feel a little different. We're gonna drive together down to a coffee shop in downtown Phoenix. It's a newer coffee shop. It's actually a faith-based Christian coffee shop. It's called Good News Coffee. Can't wait to share with you. This episode is really gonna be a little bit more about getting to know me a little better as your host and sharing a part of my heart, a part of my story. I had mentioned in the promo previously that I'm going to be sharing my story alongside others and just really showing and sharing how God, what He's done and what He's continuing to do. And so I cannot wait to take you along today for the ride and for the journey. Let's get started. Heading over to Good News Coffee in downtown Phoenix. I can't wait to check out this little coffee shop because, like I said, it's faith-based. It's a Christian coffee shop. I've seen it on Instagram and it looks amazing. So we're gonna sit down, have a cup of coffee, and I'm just gonna get into it. I'm gonna get into parts of my story, and I can't wait to share my heart with you. I cannot wait for this next episode. Well, by the time you see this, it will already be happening. It will already be happening. Where's the camera? So yeah, let's head over there.
My name's Naomi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Erica.
Hi, Erica. And we do have some iced coffee or hot coffee.
Okay.
And we have matcha or we have a plant-based energy
looks
drink.
amazing.
Yeah.
And the plant-based.
Yeah, the plant-based energy drink.
Your matchas and your energy drink look amazing.
Yes, super yummy. I would recommend the Berry Beloved or the Grace and Glory matcha, which has been a fan favorite.
Okay.
Or the Risen King for the Lotus.
Risen King.
And here's your drink, Erica.
Thank you. Okay, guys, so I'm here at Good News Phoenix, and like I mentioned earlier this morning, this is a Christian faith-based small business coffee shop, and it's the most beautiful place. You can truly just feel the presence of God within these walls, and what a better place to sit while I share my heart with you. And so we're gonna start basically with rewinding to my younger years. And I'm going to start there because there's so many chapters in my story. There's so many chapters in my story. But through every single chapter, I have clearly seen, even when I didn't realize and understand that God's hand was all over my life, all over my story, all over my future. There was a time in my story where then I did realize it. So let me rewind and take you back to when I was a little girl. A little girl growing up. I grew up to a single mom, and she was absolutely the most amazing, she still is, just the most amazing, devoted, loving, attentive mom. And my dad was around, but he was in and out of my life, unfortunately. And although I always knew that he loved me, unfortunately, I didn't have that typical father-daughter relationship with my dad. But it was something deep down in my heart and my spirit, even as a little girl, that I longed for, but that wasn't there. And so as I grew up, as I got older, you know, like most young teenagers, you're trying to find yourself and understand who you are as a young individual and as a person. And my mom and dad ended up getting married when I was 13 years old. And so for the first time in my life, we lived together as a family unit, which was very different for me. I had never experienced that before. What did you say that?
That's on. I'm sorry.
What did? Okay, ready? I was going through a really rough patch in my life where I was just questioning a lot of things. I believe at that point in my young years, I had some issues of maybe a little bit of resentment and anger even towards my dad. And I didn't quite understand the full picture, of course, right? Like as a young person, you don't always understand the bigger picture and the behind the scenes. So, but I understood at that moment what was in front of me, and I just had a lot of questions and just a lot of pull back and forth within myself. And so that kind of lingered for a little bit. And I want to say I even went through a tiny bout of depression as I was really trying to discover who I was. I was 14 years old, and I decided to try to end my life. And so I did that. I tried to end my life. And at that time of my young life, I didn't understand, again, who I was or who God created me to be. And I didn't realize at that time that God's hand truly, truly was all over my life. And so by the grace of God, I did not lose my life, and I kept living. So good. Okay, before we move on with the rest of my story, let's just take a little pause while we drink. While I drink the Risen King. Beautiful, delicious, refreshing. This is desert pear, cantaloupe, white peach, pink lotus, coconut milk, and OJ. This is a plant-based energy drink brought to you by Good News Coffee. Okay, so let's pick up where we left off, shall we? A couple years later, I ended up becoming a teen mom. I was 16 years old when I became a mom to my amazing son, Nick. And Nick became truly my inspiration for really everything that I did as a younger teenager. I was a junior in high school when I married Nick's father, and I became a wife. And I think in every stage of life, no matter if you are younger or older, you do the best that you can with what you have. You do the best that you can with the tools that you have. And at that time, I knew that my education was something that I really, really wanted to hone in on. I really wanted to give and create Nick a life of success. I really wanted to create a different story for myself, because I knew when I became a mom, at the young age of 16, I knew that I also became a statistic at the same time. So everything in me wanted to fight because I have always had this internal fight about me, this internal zeal about me, this internal, righteousness within me. And of course, now I know that's totally all God and what He's gifted me with and what He's placed inside of me. But at that time, I stewarded all of that towards, okay, I'm going to create something new. I'm going to step into a new chapter, and that's going to be my education. So I, finished, of course, high school and then moved on to college. I went to Phoenix College for almost 3 years. And then I earned my associate's degrees there. And then I transferred to ASU because I knew I wanted to continue my education at a university level. And so I went to ASU. I was accepted into the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism. And I wanted, to be in front of the camera. And at that time, Nick was maybe 5 years old. And I ended up graduating from ASU. And I'll never forget that was probably one of the most pivotal times in my life, my young life, except for aside from, of course, when Nick was born. But one of the most important and impactful times in my life is when I graduated college, and my young son at that time, who was probably about 6 years old, was able to experience that with me. Because I grew up overnight. I became a mom and a wife overnight at such a very, very young age. And I had to grow up really, really fast. So I knew that having that success and having Nick be a part of it was everything, because he was my driving force. He was my inspiration. He was my guiding light. And so graduated college and, got a job in my field. At that time, it was journalism and public relations. Just doing the best that I can as a young mom younger mom, because at that time I was, about 23 years old. And then, so let's fast forward just a tiny bit, couple years. My son Nick, his dad and I, ended up, unfortunately, getting a divorce. So I was 25 at the time. And that's something that was really hard because, marriage is a commitment, and it's something that I was very steadfast committed to. But unfortunately, life happened in different ways. And so Nick's dad and I ended our marriage at 25. I will say that throughout every season of my life, every chapter of my life, and still to this very moment and this very day, that God's hand was over me. He was carrying me. He was shaping me. He was refining me. And I didn't even realize it. I didn't understand the magnitude of the love of God, the magnitude of His grace, the magnitude of His mercy. His mercies were all over my life. But again, it wasn't until I was a little older when I really, really started seeking after Him. I started walking with Him and really getting to know myself and understanding who I was as a daughter of God. And that, my friends, is the end of part 1 of this episode of The I Am Show. I've shared a piece of my heart and my story with you, but there's so much more I want to tell you. So make sure you come back for part 2. We're just getting started, and I can't wait to continue this journey with you. If you're struggling with thoughts of suicide, you are not alone. Please reach out to someone you trust, a friend, a family member, a counselor. You can also call or text 988 to get immediate support. You are loved, your life matters, and it's okay to ask for help.